So now we're ready to drop this into place next to our Italia logo and sort of close up the logo type. So what I'm going to do is just zoom down a little way here so we can see all elements together and just move this down. Now, when you're positioning things, especially when it comes to type and you just gently want to nudge things into place, it's definitely better to have the smart guides turned off because then you're not snapping and bouncing around to lines all over the artwork. So as always, Command U or Control U on the PC to turn off those smart guides, and I'll zoom back up here. Now size on this is a little too large, so I can either go here into the character palette or come up here to the control panel and change the value. I'm going to come over here seeing as we have it available, and I'm going to drop the type size down to 24 point. I think that'll do for our overall comparison between these two elements. Now that we have the smart guides turned off, we can simply drag this in, and I'm going to position it just so that apostrophe nicely tucks in that little space that's left here on the left side of the eye. I think that looks pretty good. Now, in order to make this as a finished logo type, all we need to do is group it together, okay? So make sure the type is highlighted, hold down your Shift key and select our logo group as well, and simply Command G or Control G on the PC to group that into one element. Now, if we go back to fit all in window, we now have a new form of logo here that needs to be replicated into the other parts of the screen. So using our progressive scaling and a couple of shortcuts, we can achieve that fairly quickly. What we'll do is hold down the Option key, Alt on the PC, and drag a copy straight up here onto our top right-hand page. Let's zoom up, and we can just position this so it lines up on the right-hand side there of our current Italia logo. You can always go to outline mode and see how that looks, all right? Then I'm going to hit the S key to access our scale tool. As we've done before, hold down the Option key or the Alt on the PC to allow us to click and specify the anchor point from which we're scaling, and then we'll drop this down to about 95% and then simply duplicate that function again and keep on going until we get this down to the rough size that we need. Now this background isn't always going to stay blue. We're going to drop an image in here shortly, so this may change size, but for now I think this is happy where it is. As you know, later on you can always change that yourself. So I'm going to select the black one that we have here sitting behind it and just delete that, and now we want to get a final one down in the lower part of our flyer. So once again, just Option drag another one of these down. All right, let's zoom in over here. So much handier when you've got all these zoom and scroll shortcuts. I'm glad we went through those at the beginning. And I'm going to go into outline mode here so we can see the logo because it's on a black background. It's kind of difficult to see its location. And once again, I'm going to position that roughly on the right-hand side. Hit the S key for scale, Option click on the right hand side, and we'll use the same 95% value. Then we can just keep going down until we get it right. Now I don't need to match the size of the Italia logo. I do want to make sure that the type is still readable. Now whilst we have the group highlighted, you can still see in the character panel here, it tells us the current size of the type as I'm scaling it down. So if I keep going at this point, I'm going to reach a point where it starts to be too small. So I'm getting down to 6.3 point type. That's going to be a little too unreadable. So I'm going to back up a few steps there and get it to around 8 or 9 point. That should still be quite legible, okay? Especially when it's white out of a black background, you want to maintain as much integrity in the type as you can. Now I'm going to go back to the selection tool and once again select the logo that's behind and just get rid of that. Now when I go back to preview mode, I think everything sits in the right place. So if we fit everything in the window now and just close our character panel down for a second, we can see that the elements are starting to come together.